This week, we are talking Real ID and UK visa requirements, free dining at Disney, and a surprising budget vacation destination. Today is Monday, January 6th, and this is Travel News Now. So let's talk Real ID and UK visa requirements. So beginning May 7th of this year, 2025, all US residents aged 18 and over will require a Real ID compliant piece of identification. If you are unsure if you are Real ID compliant, if you look at your ID or driver's license, it will have a star, I believe, at the top right corner. If you do not have that star on your identification, you are not Real ID compliant. So prior to May 7th, if you are traveling, you are going to need to get an updated ID. And I will put a link below, but visit your state's DMV or BMV for the requirements to establish Real ID. The upside to this is that if you do hold a US passport, you are not required to do this. You can, but you do not have to, as a US passport fills that requirement. In the UK, they have rolled out their electronic travel authorization system. And so this is a new visa requirement for all travelers, the United States, Canada included in that. This is a part of the UK's effort to streamline their border processes while enhancing security within their country. So if you are traveling to the United Kingdom in 2025, you will require a UK visa. I'll put a link to the site below so you can check that out. Europe, a budget destination? That's right. So experts are predicting that travel to Europe in 2025 and 2026 is going to become more affordable for Americans. The euro, which has always held strong against the US dollar, has started to weaken. And it is predicted that this trend of the euro weakening will continue into 2026. So what that means is that Americans have more buying power in Europe. And they are forecasting this continued decline in the value of the euro, that it may reach parity with the US dollar and may even less than the dollar. So keep an eye on that. If you're thinking of Europe perhaps this year or next year, you may be getting the best bang for your buck. Next up, we're going to talk about some deals and discounts. Stay tuned. That's right, Disney Dining is back. From January 2nd until February 10th, if you book a minimum 3-night, 3-day park hopper vacation package, you will receive free dining. What that means is that, through your travel advisor, if you book a value or moderate resort, you will receive the quick service dining plan for free. And those staying in the deluxe resorts will receive the Disney dining plan for free. This offer is the best offer Disney puts out each year, and each year it does sell out. It is not unlimited. And so for most dates over the summer, you can book this deal. Contact your travel advisor, or if you do not have one, we'll put a link below to talk to us about it. But it sells out every year. So it goes till February 10th, but it may sell out before then. So if you are thinking Disney for your family this summer, this is the deal that you do want to jump on. Wave season is here. What is it? It is the time of the year that all of the cruise lines put out their best efforts and sales for the coming year or two. So take advantage. Our advice is during wave season, which is typically January, February, take advantage of that wave season pricing, as economists are not forecasting that the prices of cruises will go down. So they're expected to remain high. So if you do see a wave offer, contact your travel advisor and ask them to look into that for you. So along with that, we always suggest, trip insurance. If you've cruised before, you've seen it. The people that just missed the cruise, or your flight is delayed due to inclement weather. Trip insurance is on the uptick in 2024, and definitely it is predicted to in 2025. But cruise insurance definitely can provide that peace of mind and that financial protection for any major travel disruptions. A good rule of thumb to determine whether or not you should get travel insurance is ask yourself, are you okay losing the full amount of money that you put into your vacation? If the answer to that is yes, then perhaps you don't need to worry about it. But if the answer is no, you definitely want to look into travel insurance. Now, travel insurance through cruise lines is great, but typically is limited to just the cruise line. So if you have any pre or post plans, your airfare that's not through the cruise line, you want to protect all of it. And we suggest, definitely with cruises, that you do get a minimum of $100,000 coverage in emergency medical care and at least $250,000 in coverage for medical evacuation. So no one ever wants to have to file a claim, but if you do, this is something where your travel agent, your travel advisor comes in. It's very handy because they have all of the documentation. They have all your travel details, your receipts, your booking confirmations, the emails or communications leading up to this. So that becomes an invaluable asset to you, having that person having your back in the case that something happens to disrupt your travel. So wave season is definitely the time to be looking for those cruise offers. We're not predicting that you're going to see better offers outside the booking window for cruises. So definitely watch out for those. Contact your travel advisor once you see them to see what they can work out for you. And next up, we're going to talk about PreCheck and global entry. Is that a way around Real ID? Earlier, we talked about the Real ID requirements that are going to begin May 7th of this year. But did you know that if you hold a passport, you are exempt from having to lug yourself to the DMV and get a star on your license so that you can travel? I would think, and depending on your state, license replacements are not cheap. If you do need Real ID, I would highly suggest that you consider getting a U.S. passport. That allows you to travel throughout the world. It satisfies the Real ID requirement. And for $120 for 10 years, it's definitely worth it. But in addition to that, you know, going through airports, speaking of airports, going through airports is such a pain. It is such a pain. And so what we do suggest is at least signing up for TSA PreCheck. I believe that is around $78 for 5 years. You can apply for it online at tsa.gov, and you get to go through that dedicated security line. You don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your laptop out of your bag. And it's usually less than a 10-minute wait. I have TSA PreCheck. I've had it, I think, as long as PreCheck has existed. And I really do think the longest line I've ever waited in was 10 minutes. In addition to that, you know, if you do travel internationally via, you know, plane, this wouldn't necessarily apply for cruises, is the Trusted Traveler Program or Global Entry. It has a more rigorous process to it. You have to apply, there's background check, there's an interview, but it includes PreCheck in it. And then when you do, you know, when you do come in from Cabo or Cancun and you land in Atlanta or Dallas, you just walk around the customs line, and it is so priceless, especially with tight connections, is that you have this like no processing line at customs. You just breeze right through. It is a beautiful thing. I do believe membership for that program is around $120. I'll correct that on the screen if that's not correct. So that's about $40 more than TSA PreCheck alone. So if you're taking, you know, charge of your travel, get that passport, get Global Entry or TSA PreCheck. And next up, we're going to talk some trends of 2025, and I'll give you a hint. It's me. What's trending in 2025? Well, travel advisors. So gone are the days of thinking that travel agents or travel advisors are for luxury travel, or that it's the lady sitting behind the desk at AAA with your parents. Travel advisors have become almost necessary for travel in today's travel landscape. And you know what I mean by that is, especially, you know, those of us who are Gen Xers, it's gotten to be too much. And we were the ones that really started this DIY movement of travel planning. Well, I can do this myself. I can find this cheaper. Absolutely. I would say in the early 2000s, with the advent of Priceline and Expedia and all these online travel agency sites, it was fun. In the more recent years, travel has become more complicated. And I don't want to say it's COVID. It wasn't COVID, but in this post-COVID world, there's more to consider when traveling, like we had talked about, like with travel insurance and the like. So it is super important to have an expert who has your back for your trips, for your vacations, for your reunions, for your wedding, your honeymoon. You know, we talked about the UK visa entry requirements, And travel advisor is going to walk you through every step of that. We're going to make sure that you're not going to have any issues when you arrive at Heathrow or Glasgow. So it avoids having, some costly mistakes, perhaps. If you don't get that visa submitted on time, you don't get accepted for it, and you arrive at an airport, what are you going to do? So to avoid all of that, you have a professional on your side to do those things. So because we're still in this age of online booking and endless offers, it's super easy to feel overwhelmed, and to have somebody in your corner who's looking at your travel preferences, whether or not it's honeymoon, family adventure, or even solo travel, which is definitely on the uptick of trending travel. You've got somebody who knows your travel goals, knows your interests, and knows your budget. You get to get a curated itinerary of activities, your accommodations, your transfers, and the best insurance that's going to give you the best bang for your buck. So we're not creating cookie cutter vacations. I think everybody's over the cookie cutter vacation. Everybody wants to have their own bespoke experience, and that's where a travel advisor is priceless. We also have access to perks and offers that you don't. Many luxury resorts and cruise lines offer their best promotions through travel advisors. Some cruise lines actually rely on travel advisors as their reservations. They don't put their money into their reservations agents. And so it's best to have somebody who has a different phone number to call than you do. And research. I love research. I love data, but researching flights, hotels, activities, excursions, it takes a really long time, and your time is worth something. And so have somebody else working on the logistics for you. It allows you to be excited about the adventure that awaits you. You're not so... Look, we've all seen it. If you've been to Disney World, you've seen it. You've seen the mom who is losing herself because her kids are tired, everyone's screaming, and somebody is upset and saying, well, we didn't pay to do this, you can't be crying. And you don't want that. You want to go on that vacation rested and relaxed and not needing another vacation when you get home from your vacation. That's what a travel advisor is going to do for you, is to ensure that everything is laid out and that you have an itinerary that works for everybody. And then there are the things that when something goes wrong, say, if you wanted to visit 3 countries in Europe, a travel advisor is going to know the best routes for you to take, whether or not it's flying or if it's train or if it's a bus or if it's a tour. They have that expertise to tell you what is going to work best for you. And disruptions happen all the time. Flights get canceled, luggage gets lost. I just had an experience back in October where a cruise was delayed due to Hurricane Milton. And I had, 5 travelers who were all going to miss their flights. And instead of, waiting for the cruise line to get to you, to let you know, I was able to get on the phone with every single airline, as well as the cruise line, and get my clients booked right away, rebooked on new flights right away. Before they even returned to the port, they had everything rescheduled, everything was taken care of. It is things like that. So travel well, but travel stress-free. The age of DIY is over. Let somebody take your budget, take your dreams, and help you design that. In travel safety alerts, we see that Belize has gone to a level 2, which is just exercise caution. Belize City does remain at a 3. So if you are traveling or, in or through Belize, it is suggested that Belize City not be on your list. According to FlightAware today, within the US, we have around 5,000 delays happening right now, and over 24 cancellations happening. With Southwest with over 430 canceled flights today. That sounds like a mess. It looks like the airports that are struggling the most on the misery map are Chicago and New York. Dallas are the top airports experiencing delays and cancellations right now. The Northeast did get hit with some major snowstorms, especially some lake effect snow in the Great Lakes regions. So these are expected delays that are happening. So with that, I'll leave the links to the items that we've talked about today below. If you are thinking of travel in 2025 or 2026 and would like assistance, we never charge consultation fees. And so go ahead and book a free discovery call. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. Until next week, remember to love your journey. It's the only one you've got.